संसारदावानललिलोक प्राणाय कारुण्य घनाघनत्यं सकल्यान गुणार्णवश वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दम् चतुर्विधासी भगवत्प्रसाद सर्वान्नचित्तान् हरिभक्तसङ्घान् चतुर्विधासी भगवत्प्रसाद सर्वान्नचित्तान् हरिभक्तसङ्घान् तृप्तैव तृप्तिं भजत सदैव तृप्तैव तृप्तिं भजत सदैव वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दं वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दम् श्रीराधिका माधवयरपार माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपनाम्नां श्रीराधिका माधवयरपार माधुर्यलीला गुणरूपनाम्नां प्रतीक्षण स्वादनलोपशम् प्रतीक्षण स्वादनलोपश वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दम् संसारदावानललिलोक प्राणाय कारुण्य घनाघनत्यं प्राप्तसकल्यान् गुणार्णवश वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दम् निकुञ्जजूनारतिकेलिसिद्धयै जाजालिभिर्युक्तिरपेक्षणीया निकुञ्जजूनारतिकेलिसिद्धयै जाजालिभिर्युक्तिरपेक्षणीया तत्रातिदाक्षादतिवल्लभश्च वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दं वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दं वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दं वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दं संसारदावानललिलोक प्राणाय कारुण्य घनाघनतं भक्तसकल्यान् गुणार्णवश वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दं वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दम् Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Glories to Prabhupada. How are you, everyone? And welcome to the Thursday night reading and discussion of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, hosted by His Grace Yashodanandana Prabhu, a formal scholar in the Krishna conscious philosophy. And actually, for many of us, he is a Siksha Guru, a person that teaches others about the transcendental reality of spiritual life according to the teachings of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And this is very rare. Just like the Bhagavad Gita explains, many thousands of persons one may endeavor for the truth, and for those who've achieved the truth, how someone very rarely truly understands it. And this is the fact in terms of Guru Tattva, that very few people on this planet understand the difference between Prabhupada living in sound and the Vapu presentation of Prabhupada before us when he was present on this earth. And we've seen it in the posts of various godbrothers. And very disappointing for me, actually, because I was a very good friend of Bhagawan Das. And years ago, I was even flown to Europe to lead kirtan for his Vyasa Puja. And I was in England with him, and we had these elaborate dinners. It was extraordinary. He had people serving us, and we'd have these very sophisticated nalish, these very sophisticated servings at a big table. And I was quite infatuated by it. I thought, geez, this is terrific. They picked me up in 633 BMWs, and it was so out of the normal for us as devotees to have this experience. But nonetheless, it was something that I directly experienced, yes. And another thing I wanted to bring up before we go to the readings of the diaries. Hold on. Please, the people here talking. When I was in India, I mentioned it the other day that I was, I'm speaking I because it happened to me. I'm not trying to say I, me, and mine. But I was there, and I was voted as the chairman of the Temple Presidents Association globally. There was 110 temples or something, and I couldn't remember why they voted me in. I didn't know. But irrespective, it happened. And as a result, in 1978, I was the first person that was allowed to sit in the GBC meeting as a non-GBC member. Now, back then, that was quite the honor, I suppose, and in a sense, a revelation. Because the fact of the matter is that the movement was being run top-heavy by the GBC, and the temple presidents really had no power to administrate what they were doing, except to try to keep in line with the GBC man. And if the GBC man didn't like you, he'd kick you out. That was as simple as it is. So what happened was, I'm at the meeting, and there was a circle of all these GBCs, and there were 11 people that were selected by Srila Prabhupada back then to carry on with the initiation processes while he was sick with using the Ritvik system. And what happened was that after Prabhupada left in November 77, these people all exercised their ambition to divide the world into 11 different zones. 11 different zonal gurus. And that's how it started, everyone. Now, someone could say to me, well, how do you know? Well, I was there. In the room, I sat between Bhavananda and Bhagawan. I can still remember seeing Kirtananda, Keith Ham, sitting across the other way. He was kind of disinterested in the whole thing, but he was certainly interested in becoming the next Acharya. That was his business. He shut down Buffalo. He tried to shut down Toronto. He shut down everything he could just to steal all the devotees and take them to New Vrindavan. And we were one of the victims of this. Absolutely. They drained the temple. And it was sad. But this zonal guru system was totally fraudulent. And it was not based on spiritual realization. It wasn't based on transcendental knowledge. It was based on personal ambition of a few envious North American devotees. Yes. And that's the fact. That's the history of it. Now, someone could say, well, you don't know. Yes, I do. We do know. We were there. We saw it. We witnessed it. We experienced it. And we try to explain to people nowadays, well, who do you think you are? Well, we don't think we're anybody. We're humble servants of Srila Prabhupada. But the fact of the matter is, this went on without check because these people created a deep state of misinformation that's been perpetrated till 2024. And people are still writing about it on the posts and social media. You know, social media, for what it's worth, Dusan Marek, you know, for what it's worth in Australia, is a tool for communication. It's not a religion. People get so infatuated with it. Nityānanda brought it up one time for me, and I'll end here in a second. He said, you know, it's like a cottage industry. Anybody can set it up. You just put your name in and put your name up there. You could put a fake name up, and you could start to do posts and pretend who you are, and you get all these followers, and all of a sudden, Mr. Nobody or Mrs. Nobody becomes somebody on social media. So it's a fun game. And, you know, for us, what we're doing, we read it recently in the Shastra last week, where Prabhupada was saying that we use, in the Bhagavatam, he's saying we use everything that we have, whether it's a typewriter or your Lakshmi or whatever tools that you have, you dovetail it. If you're a musician, you can sing songs about Krishna. And like that, you dovetail your talents in Krishna's service. And the tools that you have, that's what we do with the Zoom class. We're dovetailing our service without salary. We're not doing this because we want money. We're not running these programs because we're looking for followers. We're only speaking the truth. And the truth of the matter is, this zonal guru acharya business is a fraud. 100% fraud, Nilesh. And it's been perpetrated for over 50 years now. See, 77 till now. So it's not quite. It's 45, 46 years. It's still going on. A lot of people are seeing through it. A lot of us are. And we're trying to explain it to other people. Not very many people really care. They don't really care. They're not. The other thing is they're not really serious. Even these God brothers that I was mentioning, like Bhagawan, for example. I hope he's listening. I send him the link for the class every week to invite him to come. I'd like him to come. I send it to Romeshwar. I send it to Bala, a bunch of devotees that are on my list. I invite them to come. If they want to discuss, if they want to challenge what we say or challenge what we do, go ahead. We want a discussion. Dissension is good, but nobody comes because they're not serious. And I doubt if they chant their rounds. That's a speculation, but anybody that's writing the way I see some of these people writing on such a whimsical level really begs to question, do you chant your rounds every day? Do you? Do you wear tilak? Do you shave your head? Do you wear neck beads? Do you wear japa beads? Do you distribute books? Do you distribute prasadam? What do you do except pet your dog? Pet your dog. Living in an opulent environment. Run around and pretend you're a great devotee and then preach to other people online. You got to listen to me like Rupanuga. Oh, I was a senior devotee. I was with Prabhupada in the 60s. And then you articulate confusion in the philosophy that you're presenting in 2024. This madness has just been going on, and it's a deep state, Ram Raghava, a very deep state. Just like in America, we can see, I'm not into politics, but I'm seeing it. I studied political science in university. I've always got an interest in it. That they're trying to uncover a very deep, contaminated, corrupted system and try to be more fair with the citizens there. They're trying, but let's see what happens. So just that I thought I'd say that about the zonal guru system. Very tragic. And if you think it's changed, it hasn't. It's just been going on and on and on. And we're going to go to back in time to the Prabhupada diaries again today. And I think, do you have a copy of the diaries, Prabhu, that we can put up? Because we're at Wednesday, June 1st. The sunrise was 4:33 a.m. and sunset was 7:22 p.m. Maybe Nilesh, Prabhu, could you source the diary for us? And whoever's hosting could give him permission to show it on the screen.
Can you repeat the
It'll be June 1st, 1966. Wednesday, June 1st. The sunrise was 4:33 a.m. and sunset was 7:22 p.m. Moonset was 3:21. Triodasi. Today I went to Immigration and Naturalization Office. They gave me extension up to the 17th of September 1966. I read this. July, August, and 17 days of September. I paid them $10 and purchased Layor, 60 cents. Expenditure was $10.60. Mr. Goldsmith's lawyer came to see me in connection with the society registration. I gave him my suggestions. In the evening, there was a meeting. There was gatherings of about 16 heads. How many we got today? We got 11. There was a gathering, and although Carl and Green did not come, Bob came with some flour and suji, and I required some flour and Krishna scented. There was a contribution of $12 and expenditure of $10.60. Nota Bene, 2 days lecture was very interesting. Yeah. And here we are at Thursday, June 2nd, sunrise 4:32 a.m., sunset 7:23, moonset 3:54, Chatur Dasi. Today I paid Paul $1.50 for expenses. On account books, $5 and a bank deposit of $20. On Friday, June 3rd, 1966, Sunrise was 4:32 a.m. Sunset was 7:23 p.m. Moonset was 4:32 p.m. Purnima. In the evening, there was a class, and it was the best than all previous classes. There was an attendance about 20, and the contribution was $19. Okay. And on Saturday, June 4th, Prabhu wrote in his diary, sunrise was 4:32 a.m., sunset was 7:24 p.m., moonrise was 9:13. Pratipada, today I paid Paul $2 for expenses. He was contributing for the loft expenditure before he moves to the matchless gifts store coming up. In Sanskrit class, the contribution was only $9, and Mikey paid the balance for the book, $4. So income was $13, and expenditure was $2. Today the temperature was very warm. For the first time in America, I took bath in the evening. And on Sunday, June 5th, 1966, sunrise 4:32 a.m., sunset 7:25 p.m., moonrise 10:06, Dvicha. The whole day was very hot. There was no expenditure, neither any income. And in the evening, I paid Paul expenditure, Paul Murray, of $1. On Monday, June 6th, sunrise was 4:32 a.m., sunset was 7:25 p.m., and moonrise was 10:49. Tritya, bank deposit was $25. A paper I spent $1.57, and a bitter melon 30 cents. In the evening, there was a meeting about more than 16 men and women attended, so picking up. The meeting was interesting, but the collection was poor. The contribution was only $9.50, so people are not giving any money. Book collection, Raphael, 3, taken, $4. So the total was $13.50, and his income and expenditure is $13.50 and $26.87. One gentleman has taken a set of books. Altogether, 5 sets distributed out of 16. There's a balance now of 11 sets. And on June 7th, Tuesday, 1966, the sunrise was 4:31 a.m., sunset was 7:26 p.m., moonrise was 11:26. Chatur, today is the morning. In the morning, Paul was paid $1.35. Plus $1 previous, I went to see Dr. Mishra and dine with him. That was where he used to stay. And expenditure was 30 cents, 2 deems for phone call, 20 cents. Total expenditure was $2.85. The bank deposit was $15, and that was $17.85, the total in and out. Wednesday, June 8th, sunrise was 4:31 a.m., sunset was 7:26 p.m., and moonrise was 11:55. Panchami, there was a meeting in the evening. About 16 persons attended, one of which was a Chinese woman who became very much interested. Excellent. The collection was $11. The book collection was $4, and it was a total of $15. A letter received from Harvey. On the June 9th, sunrise was 4:31, sunset was 7:27 p.m., moonrise. Shastri received one letter from Secretary Sri Padampat that he is not at present interested in temple construction in New York. He called it a laughing stock. Paul was paid an expenditure of $2. And on Friday, this will be the last section we'll read today. Sunrise was at 4:31 a.m. Sunset was at 7:28 p.m. Saptami, there was no expenditure today. In the evening, there was a meeting, 12 heads present, contribution only $8. So not everybody's donating. That's simple. They're not giving, not interested. The book collection was $4. The total income was $12. Invited to attend eating function on Sunday the 12th. So Prabhupada's got an invitation to go out, probably to Dr. Mishra's ashram. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and his diaries, and some insight into how he was living back in 1966, according to his own personal experiences. All glories to the Sankirtan movement. Let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then we'll have the reading and discussion with His Grace Yashodanandana Prabhu on this wonderful Thursday evening Zoom meeting with the Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society members. Haribo.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Vandana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Vandana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavindra ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridhar ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Swami Ito Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Swami Ito Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskrityam. Narayanam namaskrityam. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat. Tato Jayam Mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. It should be noted that this particular reading is being conducted from the original non-edited, non-imported, and non-interpolated and non-adulterated version of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the original 1974 version. All synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Forgive me, I'm a little tired and wiped out today. Before we begin the actual reading, as we do every week, we will recite a few selected verses from the Adi Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 1, from text 18 to 22, which describes and explains the meaning and benefit of hearing this powerful transcendental literature. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityānanda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Sri Chaitanya and Nityānanda. Glory to Advaita Chandra, and glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. Etina Thakur Gaudiya Ki Kariye Chenayat Masat. Etine Racharana Vandana Tire Morenat. These three deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Grantera Bikari Mangala Charana Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smarana. In the beginning of this narration, Simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of God, and I've invoked their benediction. Tinerasmaraneoi vigna vinashana, anayaseoi nijavanchita purana. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desires. Stimangala charanoi trivida prakar, vastu nirdesha chirvada namaskara. The invocation involved three processes defining the objective, offering benediction, and offering obeisances. Let us proceed with our text today. We are reading from Adilila chapter 5, text number 50. Maya Bhartajanda Sangasrayanga Shete Sakshat Karanam Bodhi Madhye Yasyekam Sahasri Pomanadi Devas Tam Sri Nityānanda Ramam Prapadye. Maya Bharata, the master of the illusory energy. Ajanga Sangha, of the multitude of universes. Ashraya, the shelter. Angaha, whose body. Chete, he lies. Sakshat, directly. Karanam Bodhi Madhye, in the midst of the causal ocean. Yasya, whose. Eka Amshaha, one portion. Tripuman, the supreme person. Adidevaha, the original Purusha incarnation. Tam, to him. Sri Nityānanda Ramam, to Lord Balarama, in the form of Lord Nityānanda. Prapadye, I surrender. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. I offer my full obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityānanda Rama, whose partial representation called Karanodakashayi Vishnu, lying on the Karana ocean, is the original Purusha, the master of the illusory energy, and the shelter of all the universes. Text number 51. Vaikunta Bahire Jyotirmaya Dhama, Tahar Barhir Karanar Navanama. Vaikunta Bahire, outside the Vaikunta planets, yea, that Jyotihi Maya Dhama, impersonal Brahman effulgence. Tahara Bahire, outside that effulgence, Karana Arnavanama, an ocean called Karana. Translation. Outside the Vaikuntha planets is the impersonal Brahman effulgence, and beyond that effulgence is the Karana ocean or causal ocean. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The impersonal glowing effulgence known as the impersonal Brahman is the outer space of the Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky. Beyond that impersonal Brahman is the great causal ocean, which lies between the material and spiritual skies. The material nature is a byproduct of this causal ocean. Karanodakashayi Vishnu, who lies on the causal ocean, creates the universes merely by glancing upon material nature. Therefore, Krishna personally has nothing to do with the material creation. Bhagavad Gita confirms that the Lord glances over material nature, and thus she produces the many material universes. Neither Krishna in Goloka nor Narayana in Vaikuntha comes directly in contact with the material creation. They are completely aloof from the material energy. It is the function of Mahasankarshana in the form of Karanodakashayi Vishnu to glance over the material creation which is situated beyond the limits of the causal ocean. Material nature is connected with the personality of Godhead by his glance over her and nothing more. It is said that she is impregnated by the energy of his glance. The material energy, Maya, never even touches the causal ocean, for the Lord's glance focuses upon her from a great distance away. The glancing power of the Lord agitates the entire cosmic energy, and thus its action begins at once. This indicates that matter, however powerful she may be, has no power by herself. Her activity begins by the grace of the Lord, and then the entire cosmic creation is manifested in a systematic way. The example of a woman's conception can help us understand this subject to a certain extent. The mother is passive, but the father puts his energy within the mother, and thus she conceives. She supplies the ingredients for the birth of the child in her womb. Similarly, the Lord activates material nature, which then supplies the ingredients for cosmic development. Material nature has two different phases. The aspect called pradhana supplies the material ingredients for cosmic development, and the aspect called maya causes the manifestation of her ingredients, which are temporary like foam in the ocean. In reality, the temporary manifestations of material nature are originally caused by the spiritual glance of the Lord. The personality of Godhead is the direct or remote cause of creation, and material nature is the indirect or immediate cause. Materialistic scientists, puffed up by the magical changes their so-called inventions have brought about, cannot see the real potency of Godhead behind matter. Therefore, the jugglery of science is gradually leading people to a godless civilization at the cost of the goal of human life. Having missed the goal of life, materialists run after self-sufficiency, not knowing that material nature is already self-sufficient by the grace of God, thus creating a colossal hoax in the name of civilization. They create an imbalance in the natural self-sufficiency of material nature. To think of material nature as all in all, not knowing the original cause, is ignorance. Lord Chaitanya appeared to dissipate this darkness of ignorance by igniting the spark of spiritual life that can, by his causeless mercy, enlighten the entire world. To explain how Maya acts by Krishna's power, the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita gives the example that an iron rod in a fire, although it is not fire, becomes red hot and acts like fire itself. Similarly, all the actions and reactions of material nature are not actually the work of material nature, but are actions and reactions of the energy of the Supreme Lord manifested through matter. The power of electricity is transmitted through the medium of copper, but this does not mean that the copper is electricity. The power is generated at a powerhouse under the control of an expert living being. Similarly, behind all the jugglery of the natural laws is a great living being, who is a person like the mechanical engineer in the powerhouse. It is by his intelligence that the entire cosmic creation moves in a systematic way. The modes of nature that directly cause material actions are also originally activated by Narayana. A simple example will explain how this is so. When a potter manufactures a pot from earth, the potter's wheel, his tools, and the potter himself are the remote causes of the pot, but the potter is the chief cause. Similarly, Narayana is the chief cause of all material creations, and the material energy supplies the ingredients of matter. Therefore, without Narayana, all other causes are useless, just as the potter's wheel and tools are useless without the potter himself. Since materialistic scientists ignore the personality of Godhead, it is as if they were concerned with the potter's wheel and its rotation, the potter's tools and the ingredients for the pots, but had no knowledge of the potter himself. Therefore, modern science has created an imperfect, godless civilization that is in gross ignorance of the ultimate cause. Scientific advancement should have a great goal to attain, and that great goal should be the personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that after conducting research for many, many birds, great men of knowledge who stress the importance of experimental thought can know the personality of Godhead, who is the cause of all causes. When one knows him perfectly, one surrenders unto him and then becomes a Mahatma. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad Vandanam Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Charkara Yuktam Kadati Visheshataham Adadana Danter Tidam Yache Punaha Punaha Srimadrupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarabata Tatkripa Pikshako Nityam Tatprishta Chatkaromisvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityānanda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This explanation of the process of creation given by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is very detailed. There's a similar explanation in the Bhagavad Gita, where in one purport Prabhupada quotes from a book called the Sattvata Samhita, where the description of the three Vishnus, Karano Dakshaya Vishnu, Garbho Dakshaya Vishnu, and Kshiro Dakshaya Vishnu is given. There's a very interesting story in this connection. When Prabhupada was in Vrindavan at the Radha Damodar temple in late October of 1972, Subal Swami was there, and Prabhupada was talking with his godbrother Oroville Kapoor. Oroville Kapoor was a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he would always come to see Srila Prabhupada whenever Prabhupada would come to Vrindavan. And they would have very enlivening discussion. Many of discussions were in Hindi with the profuse Sanskrit, and occasionally Prabhupada would speak in English. This godbrother, Srila Prabhupada, was a great scholar of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And Srila Prabhupada raised the issue amongst his disciples, can anyone explain what are the three Vishnus? So Subal Swami raised his hand and he explained from the Bhagavad Gita purport in considerable detail and precision the actual meaning. Oh, very nice. There's a picture here of Lord Mahavishnu, and he glances over Ramadevi and Maya, and it activates the creation of the material world. Thank you for finding that. Who, I don't know if it's Rupesh or Neil Shyama Prabhu, and then there's the creation with Garbo Dakshayi Vishnu here. So anyway, Subal Swami, what he did is he explained all of this in considerable detail and referred to the Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada was very pleased. He was smiling and he told OBL Kapoor, just see these Westerners, although they were not born here, simply by studying and hearing, they're able to explain very nicely. So this is a very important feature, just like we have in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, I believe it's the 3rd chapter in verse number 1, Srila Prabhupada also explained the sequence of creation and how these three Vishnus interact and how the material world is created. Now, it's important to note because material scientists base their knowledge upon experimental and their senses. And we know from the description given in the Shastras that Brahm Pramada Vipralipsa Karana Patava, these 4 defects of cheating, mistakes, and tendency to be illusion, and these 4 basic defects of human beings are not present in the words of great sages. It's described in Sanskrit, Nahi dosha e saba, arsha vignya, the statements of great personalities, of great self-realized soul, liberated souls, are not subject to the defects of conditional existence. And this is very important, because if every time you will interact with a material scientist, they will always base their observations upon their experiment. They have to see, they have to experiment in order to accept something. But Vedic knowledge is very different. Prabhupada explains in the Upanishad that Vedic knowledge means the avaroha panta, to hear from Vedic authority. And the mundane material science process is aroha panta, speculation and trying to understand things by direct experience. Now, interestingly, today is the disappearance day of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And there are so many different statements by Srila Prabhupada regarding His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Very nice, very nice. So this is a very special day for us, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, especially those in the line of Srila Prabhupada. Here there's a nice quote. It says, there is no scarcity of anything within this world. The only scarcity is of Krishna consciousness. That is a very important truth. I want to read from a part of the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very important philosophical concept. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 22, Text 19. Canto number 3, Chapter 22, Text 19. This is in relationship with Karda Muni and his wife. It says, therefore I shall accept this chaste girl as my wife, on the condition that though she bears semen from my body, I shall accept the life of devotional service accepted by the most perfect human beings. That process was described by Lord Vishnu. It is free from envy. Thank you. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Kardama Muni expressed his desire for a very beautiful wife to Emperor Swayambhuva and accepted the emperor's daughter for marriage. Kardama Muni was in the hermitage practicing complete celibacy as a brahmachari, and although he had the desire to marry, he did not want to be a householder for the whole span of his life because he was conversant with the Vedic principles of human life. According to Vedic principles, the first part of life should be utilized in brahmacharya for the development of character and spiritual qualities. In the next part of life, one may accept a wife and beget children, but one should not beget children like cats and dogs. And we will go towards the last paragraph here, where Prabhupada describes, after fulfilling his responsibility to produce a nice child, one should take sannyasa and engage in the perfection of Paramamsa stage. Paramamsa refers to the most highly elevated perfectional stage of life. There are 4 stages within sannyas life, and Paramahamsa is the highest order. The Srimad Bhagavatam is called the Paramamsa Samhita, the treatise for the highest class of human beings. The Paramahamsa is free from envy. In other stages, even in the householder stage of life, there is competition and envy. But since the activities of the human being in the Paramahamsa stage are completely engaged in Krishna consciousness or devotional service, there is no scope for envy. In the same order as Kardama Muni, about 100 years ago, Thakur Bhaktivinoda also wanted to beget a child who could preach the philosophy and teachings of Lord Chaitanya to the fullest extent. By his prayers to the Lord, he had as his child Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, who at the present moment is preaching the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya throughout the entire world through his bona fide disciples. Now, what's interesting, if we look at the timeline of this, especially on this auspicious day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disappearance, or Tirobhaptiti, he departed in 1936, on 31st of December, 1936. This book by Srila Prabhupada was published in 1973, written a little bit before. So it's a considerable gap. How is Srila Prabhupada describing that his Guru Maharaj is preaching in the current tense the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya? How is he doing that? Throughout the world through his bona fide disciples. Same principle for initiation. Prabhupada can still initiate today through bona fide disciples acting as modest, humble representative, not trying to usurp the position of Acharya on the basis of falsehoods and deception. And this is a very important point. Very important point. There's numerous other lectures that Srila Prabhupada has given on the disappearance day and appearance day of his Guru Maharaj. I just want to quote one of my favorite quotes, especially for our friends in the swamp, in the GBC swamp, to educate them a little bit about their Vapuvad philosophy. They should take note of Prabhupada's statements. This is I believe in Atlanta, Georgia, on the appearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Let me just find it. This was in 1975 in Atlanta, Georgia, on March 2nd, 1975. March 2nd, 1975. This was the appearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And Prabhupada is describing the life of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and how he met with his Guru Maharaj in 1918, his activities in the householder world. And then in the sequence of questions, Prabhupada, so now, by the grace of Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in the presence of my Guru Maharaj, You are so nice, boys and girls. So in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you are chanting Hare Krishna mantra, and you are taking part in it very seriously. So my Guru Maharaj will be very, very much pleased upon you and bless you with all benefits. Again, the same concept. Departed in 1936. The lecture is in 1975 in March, and Prabhupada said he'll be pleased. Prabhupada continues, so he wanted this, and he's not. It is not that he's dead and gone. That is not spiritual understanding. So our good Vapu friends, Vapuvada friends who love to emphasize their physicality should take note of this and discuss this, because it seems they never understood the teaching. Thank you very much, to whom it may concern. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, very much. And I was listening to a lecture from Srila Prabhupada today, and he quoted Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami. He said that his Guru Maharaj said, don't try to see Krishna, but try to act in such a way that Krishna will see you. So the devotee of the spiritual master is always acting on behalf of his spiritual master. And Prabhupada was discussing the Bhagavad Gita, and he said, I presented this Bhagavad Gita and it should not be changed. He said, where is the authority of a person who's a third-class man who changes the meaning of the Bhagavad Gita? So this type of disobedience of the orders of the spiritual master is very unfortunate for everybody. And it's caused quite a confusion, because the devotee sees through his ears, not with his eyes. And we saw these purports this evening are so descriptive of how Krishna creates this world, and they're beyond the purview of or experience of ordinary people, like all of us. We're born in different categories of birth, and understanding these subjects is not something you can concoct or speculate on. You have to simply hear it. And Prabhupada talks about the importance of Vani. He says, Krishna is non-different than his name. And when you chant offenselessly the Hare Krishna mantra, if you just chant it, then everything will be revealed through the holy name itself. Just simply by chanting the transcendental sound vibration. He said further, this sound vibration is non-different than Krishna. The sound is non-different than Krishna. And so in the same way, the spiritual master, the pure devotee, he is the representative of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in our case, Prabhupada is the representative of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami, Prabhupada. And everything that the Guru speaks is Shastra. It's actually transcendentally real. But somehow or other, some people think that Prabhupada's words were speculation. They also criticize. Again, referring to what Yashodananda is talking about the Vapu situation, I have my godbrother, who's a good friend of mine in the past, Bhagavan, and he's specifically preaching this way that if you don't have the personal association of the person is not there. He has no power to initiate. So minimizing the Vani representation of the spiritual master, which is philosophically incorrect. And it is not possible for understanding these truths unless one remains submissive before the spiritual master and practices offenseless service to the guru, to the spiritual master. These are two very important aspects of Krishna consciousness. So, for example, if you don't chant your rounds, for example, and someone criticized this, oh, you're micromanaging. We're not going to people's houses and checking of how your beads are twirling. We're not going there with a camera and going, hey, we caught you, you didn't chant your rounds. It's self-evident in a person's speech, in their mannerism, in their realization. When they speak, they reveal themselves. Absolutely. And the astute devotee who's carefully studying the Shastras, who's chanting her rounds, who's following the principles, they can see the difference. They can. And the other people, they can't. Because they don't get the mercy of the spiritual master through the execution of the serious application to this process. One has to be very serious about Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada further stated that today in his class. If you're not serious, don't become initiated. It's not necessary. You can carry on. Like some people, they don't bother to come to the classes. We have these rules for initiation now with our group. If you want to be a Prabhupada disciple, we want you to come to the classes. Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to understand what we're saying about the position of Guru Tattva and how a devotee sees through the years, how he understands the Vani incarnation. And we're very uncompromising in that position, Ram Raghava, as you know. People say, well, you repeat. It's not that we're repeating it. This is a constant theme that's being presented in our philosophy by Srila Prabhupada and by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, and by Rupa Goswami, and in the disciplic succession from Lord Chaitanya, this same truth is being taught. And it is fundamental to a person's advancement. It is. This is a very serious matter. And unfortunately, some people don't take it very seriously. But that's their, in all honesty, we're reading the diaries today. Now, Prabhupada's saying, well, we had 20 people come to the class. Oh, okay. It was a very good class, but they only gave $9. Is he worried about the money? No, he's seeing how these people are reacting. Are they ready to support? Are they ready to step up? Are they ready to surrender to this process? Or are they just going to be spectators? Oh, let's be a spectator. Or let's see if we want to bother. Like a lot of people, they drop out. They come sometime and then they disappear and then they go on their own, and that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, we're not micromanaging people's lives. We're studying what is going on by the reaction of not only people in our group overall, but especially when we see how our godbrothers react to the whole thing. And then we're able to observe and analyze and appreciate who is actually committed to Prabhupada's mission. Oh, someone could say, well, how do you know? Well, we have experience. It's just that simple. If you don't take an action, you can't get a result. The only way you can know in life anything is to step out and try to do something. And our theme, all of you, as you know, is to protect Prabhupada's legacy in his books and his letters in his lectures and his teachings. That's what we're doing. And, I really appreciate Yashodananda. I know Nilesh does very much. Yashodananda, the Prabhu's constant focus on Prabhupada's instructions in our classes and all the letters and information that he provides. That's a revelation for most of us. Huh? You never heard about it. All of a sudden Yashoda comes up with, well, it was back in 1974 this, and 1976 this, and then there was a meeting in 1992, and we had this discussion and this and that, and it goes on and on and on. And it's verifiable information to convince us that what we're doing is the right thing to protect Prabhupada's legacy and protect all of us in our spiritual life. That is most important. Yashodananda, if you could further describe.
Again, as I discussed earlier, this is a very important day for us Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And Srila Prabhupada was very much happy when he saw that his disciples were engaging in all the various centers around the world in celebrating the appearance days and disappearance days of the great acharyas and his Guru Maharaj and Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ram Navami, and all these festivals are very important. There is an interesting Sanskrit statement in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 3rd canto. It says that in the spiritual world, it's called Akandita Utsavam. It's basically a long word, Akandita Utsavam, that in the spiritual world in Vaikuntha and Goloka Vrindavan, there is a constant, uninterrupted festival of glorification of Krishna. And this is what Srila Prabhupada brought to the Western world, the deity worship, the chanting, the Bhagavatam, all of these things are part of Prabhupada's gifts to the world that anybody can participate. Now, I'm quite aware that some devotees are very strong opinions or observations that people should not criticize, we should all be friends, we should just forgive and forget. Well, that's nice. It's a very nice sentiment. We don't disagree with the sentiment. But as followers and students of Srila Prabhupada and disciples of Prabhupada, we've made a commitment to him to follow his teachings. We've made a commitment to him to present his teachings to the world. So, and we know that Prabhupada didn't want for us. Oh, very nice. Thank you for that. He found the quote exactly. It's from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 19th chapter, text number 31. We can read, Sri Maitreya continued. Let's see the translation of verse. After thus killing the most formidable demon Hiranyaksha, the Supreme Lord Hari, the origin of the boar species, returned to his own abode, where there is always an uninterrupted festival. The Lord was praised by all the demigods headed by Brahma. When we go down further in the purport, that was a very good find, Prabhu, Neil Shyama Prabhu. When we go down further in the purport towards the end, Srila Prabhupada explains that. Although the Lord, as his particular abode in which to reside, is all pervasive, the impersonalists accept one aspect of the Lord's features, the all-pervasive aspect, but they cannot understand his localized situation in his transcendental abode, where he always engages in fully transcendental pastimes. Especially mentioned in this verse, is the word akandita utsavam. Utsava means pleasure. Whenever some function takes place to express happiness, it is called utsava. Utsava, the expression of complete happiness, is always present in Vaikuntha Lokas, the abode of the Lord, who is worshipable even by demigods like Brahma, to say nothing of other less important entities such as human beings. So this is a very important point that is raised by Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
We've got Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas. I wonder if he could share some insights on today's program with us on this very auspicious day of the disappearance day of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas. We're going to get Garuda Prabhu and Paranjana and a few other devotees speak during the discussion panel as well. Go ahead, Dharma Bhavana. Thank you.
Well, I won't speak long. I had a few things on my mind. I do want to read this from Srila Prabhupada's Hidden Glories about Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati on the truth. A chanter of the Kirtan of Hari is necessarily the uncompromising enemy of worldliness and hypocrisy. As chanter of the Kirtan of Hari, it is a function spell actions.
Yeah, you're cutting out. Try again to get that vocal. Try to get yourself.
Am I on? Am I on?
Dharma Bhavana Prabhu, nobody can hear you.
Now. Can you?
No. You were unmuted always, but I think your connection is weak.
California. Let's see if we can get on air with him. Paranjana Tim Lee, are you there? Your picture's there. We're kind of not getting connected here, unfortunately. Let's try. What? Let's try Garuda. Yeah, let's try Garuda Prabhu and see if he can get on. Garuda there, back from holidays or wherever in the sun.
There is Nityānanda Prabhu again.
Yeah, go ahead, Garuda.
Okay.
We'll go ahead with Garuda. We're going to move ahead because the class is moving to the end. Garuda, go ahead. Make a comment on the topic.
Just want to offer my pranams to all here. I'm back from Vrindavan and Jaipur, totally jet lagged, but glad to be back here among all these wonderful Vaishnavas. Just to go on record, Yashodanandana ji mentioned at the start of today's class about the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the original edition. So it is, Jayadvaita says in a film to Brahma Muhurta that scholars, and he mentioned Tamal Krishna, scholars like Tamal Krishna Goswami can access the original transcriptions for the books. And so I applied formally to the BBT, stating that, well, I'm actually more of an evolved scholar, technically, in the sort of mundane sense than Goswami was. In fact, I mentored Goswami in his work. And I said I would like to make a formal request to access the transcriptions of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, from which the original Chaitanya Charitamrita was created. And I'd like to check the new revisions and I was denied. I wrote back and I asked what was the reason for being denied. Let
me ask you a quick question. Who denied you? Go ahead. Who denied you? Who are the persons?
It was the board.
Oh, yeah, but who are the so-called people in charge of the board? The names. What are the names?
It's all the big ones, the Nareshwar, Brahma Muhurta. Now, Swavas really likes me and trusts me. We've known each other for a long time.
Just Brahma Muhurta, Romeshwar, he's still there. Who else?
No, not Rameshwar. Nareshwar.
Nareshwar. Who's he?
Yeah.
Who's he? I never
Oh,
heard of him.
Nareshwar was in charge until very recently of the Australian BBT.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
he was
okay,
for a long
somebody.
time. Nareshwar, yeah, godbrother. He's a godbrother. Yeah, the only godbrother that's been on the the BBT for. Anyway,
Yeah,
I was denied access to the archives, even though the archives perfectly willing, Econauts perfectly willing to give me access, not a problem.
mhm.
But I was denied access to these transcriptions. And I am a highly trained textual scholar of the kind that they were talking about. What did they think I was going to do? I mean, what do they have to hide? I mean, well, apparently they have quite a bit to hide. So this is something that I'm going to petition against since it's been about 2 years. But so when I heard Yashodanandanaji, again,
Yeah.
respect the original 17-volume set of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's too bad that that I can't gain access to be able to appreciate either what they've done or to critique what they've done. I mean, anyway, it's troublesome. Anyway, I don't have much more to say than that. I'm so jet lagged.
I wanted to comment on that. This is proof. This is proof of their cover-up. They're hiding.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why they don't want you to talk. This zonal guru system, like I spoke about at the beginning of the class today, is a
Yes.
fact. It's not a fantasy. This cover-up situation is, like we call it, the ISKCON deep state of
Yeah.
misinformation and misrepresentation. And we simply want to let people know the facts. Ram Raghava in somewhere in the States. Maybe you could make a few comments for us, please. Sorry to put you
Georgia.
on the spot, but like to hear what you have to say.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, very good. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in Georgia, in Augusta,
Okay.
Georgia.
Fair.
Thank you for the nice class. And thank you to everybody present. What we read earlier in the Chaitanya Charitamrita struck me of how Srila Prabhupada explained this explanation of understanding the remote cause and the immediate cause. So it's, if we truly understand that, all our anxiety would be dissipated, because we go in life day to day and things happen, and people are always thinking, if I had this, if I had that, and if that didn't happen, if this happened, I would be happy.
Yeah.
But we have to understand that there's a cause behind everything that's happening. And of course, the cause is the Supreme Lord. And according to our karma, some things are happening when we get the results of our activities. So if we understand that, that would alleviate our anxiety. So that's something that came to my mind. And I also had a question. We read that in one particular section, Srila Prabhupada mentions that sannyas is necessary, but also we read that in the Shastras, 5 things are not recommended in Kali Yuga. One of them is sannyas.
Yeah.
And also in January of 1977, Srila Prabhupada even specifically said no more sannyas. So how do we understand what is said in the books and what Srila Prabhupada recommended?
Okay, I would like Yashodananda after to respond to this, but I do want to say, make a comment to you, Ram Raghava, that really for us as grihastas or brahmacharis or whatever ashram you're in, the most important thing is your behavior. It's not your cloth, what dress you have. But if you have a spirit of renunciation, of minimization, if you have ability for sense control, yes, if you're preaching constantly, to others, trying to educate them on Krishna consciousness, if you're dovetailing your life as best as you can in the service of the Lord every day, this is renunciation. Renunciation means to engage everything that you have in Krishna's service, not give things up, but to take a proactive position of serving your spiritual master with the desire to please him. Let me give you an example. In my own particular case, I'm honored to be in this group, very honored, because I know that all of us here are here because we are really committed to becoming spiritually fixed at the lotus feet of our spiritual master. And my good friend and our good friend Nityānanda Prabhu is doing a great service for all of us. And it is my goal or our goal to assist him in this service, because the truth is what must be protected, Garuda, without any question. And this particular service that we're doing to facilitate this broadcast, and to not only broadcast it live, but to present it for the future generations to hear, is most valuable. Very, very important. I know we had discussions in the past about these different groups that we encounter, whether they're from Bangalore or they're from Turkey or England, and all these different groups that are operating. Our group is an uncompromised group, Garuda. And you know it. That's why I know why Garuda comes. He likes it. He likes the group because he understands what we are trying to do. That's why he comes. He was unfortunately away in the Holy Lands, but he's back. Nityānanda Prabhu, maybe you could further explain.
Well, it's a very important topic because we do know two things.
Yeah.
On January 7th, 1977 in Bombay, now Mumbai, India, Prabhupada gave lecture, No More Sannyas. It's very detailed. It's available. It's a public lecture. Why Prabhupada did that? In that lecture, he said that he was concerned about various fall downs that had taken place and all the difficulties that have basically taken place with the order, and Prabhupada said to stop it. Now, some people may argue, well, after that, Prabhupada gave sannyas to Bhakti Charu, Bhakti Chaitanya, Bhakti Prem on May 29th or May 30th in Vrindavan. Yes, that's his prerogative. That is the power of the Acharya. He can make exceptions. But Prabhupada never reinstated this full sannyas. Now, after Prabhupada departed, we do know, I mean, I call it political sannyas, where people were given sannyas for the purpose of increasing the zonal empires and all the zonal Acharya nonsense. So it's a very tricky situation. But we do know a few months later in August, I was personally present in that conversation very late at night, where Prabhupada called the late secretary and my lowly self to his room and said, I've done 50% of my work with my books. The other 50% is the introduction of the Varnashram Dharma. Now, it's very important to understand the link between these two. Prabhupada wanted to structure his society for the future, but the leaders of our movement didn't give much importance to that. They were fully involved in this nonsensical, self-appointed Acharya system and all the concoctions that came about in 78, 79, and 80. That's why when Prabhupada defines in the Bhagavad Gita what is real sannyas, is very different. It's very different than what we've been led to believe from these people. For example, in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, text number 2, it says, what is called renunciation, you should know to be the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme, O son of Pandu. For one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Then Prabhupada explained, real sannyas yoga or bhakti means that one should know his constitutional position as the living entity and act accordingly. The living entity has no separate independent identity. He is the marginal energy of the Supreme. Hold on, let me get the thing again here. Anyway, basically, Prabhupada is explaining that a Krishna consciousness person is simultaneously a sannyasi and a
Prabhuji,
yogi.
I got it on the.
We
I
got it on the screen.
Okay, good, good.
Go ahead,
And
read it.
there's another lecture that Prabhupada gave on August 25th, 1973, where Prabhupada explains, first of all, brahmachari. Then if one cannot remain a brahmachari, all right, take a wife, grihastha. Then give up vanaprastha, then take sannyas. This is the process. The mudha, they'll work all day and night for sense gratification. Therefore, at a certain period of life, that stupidity should be given up and taken sannyas. No finish, that is sannyas. Now, this portion of life should be completely for Krishna's service. That is real sannyas. And there's other places where Prabhupada explains that if one engages in Krishna consciousness, whether it's a household or a sannyas, the real sannyas is the engagement in Krishna consciousness. So I hope this comment helps. Hare Krishna.
Well, it's really a matter of personal discipline from the individual devotee to follow strictly as possible this process, and the results will be there. They come. It works. The system does work. When you don't follow, when you don't chant, when you don't read, when you don't do this, when you don't do that, we read all the rules. When you don't do it, how can you get the result? Nobody does. It's a simple matter of discipline, and it's Ram Raghava, you know it. It's joyfully performed. Like it really is. It's a good thing. Like a lot of times for myself, I've been diligent in many years now, back on track of chanting my rounds. And it's amazing where you go. Nobody chants Hare Krishna. Nobody. You're the only person that's going to be chanting where you are, pretty much. Or maybe there's a handful, 2 or 5 or 10 or 20 people, maybe if you're lucky. But outside of that, out of the millions of people that are in Georgia, nobody's chanting Hare Krishna. You're the only one. Yet people will criticize us. Oh, who do you think you are? We are committed to this process, and that is the difference. Nilesh, did you have a comment? Quick.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, please.
So a lot of points which was done as far as today's discussion is concerned. You know, whenever we recreate a situation, especially when a situation has passed, what we call as forensics, where we can recreate what must have happened in the past based on what evidence we have. You mentioned about the zonal acharya system. Now, remember, this zonal acharya system came about is because Prabhupada had very clearly set up the Ritvik system. He had divided he had told these 11 people, whoever were there, that you're going to divide up the world and you are going to be the Ritvik, the representative of me to initiate on my behalf. Now, of course, the misinterpretation went into such a point that we all want to become acharyas, so they call it the zonal acharya system, not understanding that no acharya can be restricted by time, space, or matter. You see? So they went into this particular situation with the thought of what Prabhupada had given to them, but with a twisted part, and then they realized and they retracted it from it and abolished the zonal acharya system. So you can tell the recreation or the cover-ups which have been occurring on a regular basis. So that was one of that part which you can kind of recreate from forensic evidences. The second part which I wanted to talk about is, everything happens in this material world, as Rama Raghav Prabhuji was talking about, is that this chaos in ISKCON, which is nothing but Gaudiya Math 2.0, as we say, as you repeatedly kind of bring about, I want to share something which I uh, found on the on Krishna.org. My fourth class god brothers, Srila Prabhupada in a letter to Hargriva on September 14, 1970, and I've highlighted this. Disturbance is caused by ignorance. Where there is no ignorance, there is no disturbance. Now, you can approach any GBC and say, which disturbance is going on in ISKCON today? And so, why is there disturbance? Because there is ignorance. They have chosen not to follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, and thereby all these disturbances are coming one after the other after the other. If we are to follow Prabhupada's instructions immaculately, there should be no problem whatsoever, because we are following on the principles of a bona fide representative, and we are following on the principles of Krishna himself. You see? And then that brings us to the point of the today's discussion, is that how this creation comes about. Even when we follow the Big Bang theory, according to the so-called scientists, that there were these gases, and then there was an agitation of these gases, which led to their combustion, which led into forming of the unicellular organisms, from where multicellular evolved and all that. But it all started with a bang. Now, who created that bang? And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we see it very clearly, where it is told that Mahavishnu creates an agitation in the Mahat Tattva, which leads to the precipitation of this whole thing. So, if you look at these certain theories which are there, they are all very much similar, but not with much clarity, just as how Bhagavatam gives us. And then the last point which we were talking about is Vishwakarma Prabhu, you were talking about when somebody says you're micromanaging. No, this is not micromanagement. This whole process of bhakti is the voluntary acceptance of disciplining from the Guru Maharaj. You are voluntarily accepting such disciplining process. It is something which you desire, because this journey of spiritual awakening, reawakening, what Prabhupada calls, has to come from within. Everyone has to go through this journey alone, and everyone has to go through this purificatory by themselves. And this help which we are getting from Srila Prabhupada, from the bona fide representative, will hasten this process, and this is the only way to go about it. I would love to know what Yashodananda Prabhu has to say about this. Hare Krishna.
Okay, we're going to wind up the program with a final comment from Yashodananda Prabhu. Your microphone, Prabhu.
Thank you for bringing up these various points. I will say, with regards to the first point about the so-called zonal, the reason why this thing expanded, I think you hit the nail on the head. Basically, there was some other motivation than pure devotion. There was personal motivation. There's motivation because everything was handled in secret in the early parts of after Prabhupada departed. Even before Prabhupada departed, there was a lot of confusion, even amongst these people, what Prabhupada really said. The actual contents of important taped conversation with Prabhupada were not revealed to the devotees for quite some time. As a matter of fact, the full, complete, total transcript of that May 28th conversation was not revealed for 9 years, till Sulochan actually had the complete, total transcript. So who had control of these conversations and who did not want them to be released and fully discussed to the devotees? I was living with the late secretary Bhagavan and Guru Kripa at Mayapur on the top of the building for the March 1970 Mayapur festival. They didn't discuss any of this with the regular devotees. They didn't have open discussion with the temple president, the sannyasis, and all the Sankirtan leaders. No, it was all a secret discussion. And then they went and consulted somebody across the river, and then they came up with this idea about Vyasasanas, about Vyasa Pujas, about Pranam mantras. None of these things were ever mentioned by Srila Prabhupada or discussed by Srila Prabhupada in the last few months of his manifested presence. And this is the problem. There was a secret cabal of people, what we call the deep state, amongst this group of people. I'm not saying it's the entire GBC, but there were certain people who had their own plan, their own nonsense ideas that they were going to introduce Vyasasanas and all of these things without the consent of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada didn't discuss any of this, because when we carefully study the philosophy, Prabhupada says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-lila, chapter 24, text 330 of purport, only such a person, a topmost Mahabhagavat, is fit to occupy that position. Who was on that level in 1977? Anybody can imagine that. Anybody can self-delude themselves or a sort of legend in their own minds, but the reality of their own behavior showed that they were not on that level. So, I mean, this is a very long discussion, which we've said many times before. We will have special events discussing many aspects of this, because this keeps coming up again and again. But we should not be fooled thinking that these people were straightforward about what took place in 1977. Hare Krishna, for now.
Glories to Prabhupada, and thank you everyone for attending the program tonight. It was very interesting for everybody's comments, and we'll look forward to seeing you on Saturday morning for Bhagavad Gita as it is reading, and Sunday for the Srimad Bhagavatam discussion and reading. And we want you to find sincere people that are interested in hearing the truth, whether they've been in ISKCON or not in ISKCON, or just searching for an understanding of who God is and how they can become more advanced in spiritual life. Invite them to subscribe to our channel, the Hare Krishna Society YouTube channel, please. And make an effort to try to cultivate some people for initiation. And on Saturday, we'll read the rules. I've sent them out to our team, the different rules of qualification for initiation. And we're always anxious to have new people participate. And actually, we not only want them to participate, we want them to step up and lead us back to this platform of focused devotional service as a group. So anybody that steps up, you're very welcome to be here. And it is a disappointment, Ram Raghava, that a lot of our godbrothers don't come. We've invited people, or they come, they go, this and that. Yes, Yashoda Nandana Prabhu, please.
On next Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, there will be a live initiation ceremony where Bhakti Rupesh will be receiving his first initiation. Another lady from New Jersey will also be receiving. So Bhakti Rupesh will be sending the Zoom link, and there will be some other devotees in this room. We're actually currently setting up the whole Fariyagna. We got the flowers lined up. We've been cleaning the vessels here and everything. So it will be very interesting. But we look forward to Saturday morning, your presentation, Vishwakarma Prabhu, about the principles and how to factually receive a bona fide initiation according to Prabhupada's final order in 1977, to be initiated as a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, a student of Srila Prabhupada, a follower of Srila Prabhupada, and a disciple of Prabhupada. So we look forward to that discussion on Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's Ram Raghava. It's so unfortunate that people cannot understand Vani, the principle of sound, even though the Hare Krishna mantra is based on sound. The scriptures from Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita are based on sound. And all of Prabhupada's purports, like the purports today that we read, that amazing purport, it's all sound vibration. Devotee sees with their ears, not with their eyes. Prabhupada lives in sound. This is simple logic, but somehow or other people can't understand it. And the reason is they don't have the capacity or the discipline to do it, period. They don't. It's the way it is. And thank you, everyone. And please donate to the book fund, Hare Krishna Society. We're planning to expand our work. So always take that into mind, that we're on this path. And we'll look forward to seeing you on Saturday morning and Sunday morning for our further discussions. We'll move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna led by Srila Prabhupada. I was corrected. I think it's 2 minutes and 89 seconds, is it? Ram Raghava, did you say? I thought it was 2:50. I was misinformed. So we're going to hear the chanting led by Srila Prabhupada, and then we'll have the final prayers and obeisances. All glories to the Sankirtan movement. Thank you, everyone. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks, everybody, for participating in this lively program. Kindly excuse my tired material body. I had to go in the woods today to cut some wood, but I'm very glad to be with all of your association. And thanks for everybody for the wonderful displays behind your head. Ram Raghava, Rupesh Prabhu, Nilesh Sharma, Rochisa Mataji in Montreal. Very beautiful, colorful pictures of Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada, and everybody. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama